Well, I don't review my work. That's what people like you do who have nothing else to do.
Floor it. That's the only rule. The Cannonball run roared into theaters on June 19th, 1981, bringing Burt Reynolds, an ambulance stuffed with celebrities, and the most star-studded cast ever assembled for what critics called a plotless mess, and audiences turned into the sixth highest-grossing film of the year. The movie follows a cross-country illegal race from Connecticut to California, where teams use disguises, fake emergencies, and pure speed to evade cops and win bragging rights.
They're dressed as priests.
Go on.
Well, I guess they think it's a little kinkier, dressed as priests.
God damn, that's sick. I'll handle this.
Oh, one more thing. I think they're armed.
Welcome to the Cannonball Run, the film based on a real outlaw race that terrified highway patrol across America, launched Jackie Chan's tradition of blooper reels, and proved you could throw famous people in expensive cars, turn on the camera, and make $160 million worldwide without bothering with things like plot or script. Today we're counting down 15 weird facts about a movie that was written for a dead man, filmed in cars with no seatbelts, and became a hit despite Roger Ebert giving it half a star. Now, before we hit the gas, make sure to like and subscribe because it helps us keep making content about the movies that defined an era. Let's start with number 15. Number 15. The movie was written for Steve McQueen, who passed away before filming. Brock Yates sat down to write the Cannonball Run with one face in mind: Steve McQueen. The king of cool, the guy who made car chases an art form in Bullet, the actor who could say more with a look than most actors could with a monologue. Yates structured every scene around McQueen's quiet intensity, his natural authority, his ability to make danger look effortless. Then, McQueen got diagnosed with cancer in early 1980. He couldn't do the film. By November, he was gone at age 50, and suddenly the Cannonball Run needed a completely different lead. Yates probably stared at that script, wondering if the whole project should just die with McQueen. Burt Reynolds stepped in, and the entire movie transformed.
UCLA.
UCLA.
UCLA Medical Center.
LA.
California.
Where McQueen would have played it dead serious, all focus and controlled tension, Reynolds showed up grinning. He brought Dom DeLuise, invented Captain Chaos on the spot, and turned what was supposed to be a nail-biting action thriller into a party on wheels where nobody took anything seriously. Here's the ironic twist. Reynolds' version made more money than McQueen's serious version ever would have. A gritty McQueen race film might have earned critical respect and a modest $30 million. Reynolds' goofy comedy printed $160 million worldwide and spawned 2 sequels. The movie written for a legend became a phenomenon because the legend couldn't make it. McQueen would have given us Bullet 2. Reynolds gave us something nobody asked for that everybody wanted. Number 14. Burt Reynolds, or Best Hopes. Got paid $5 million for 4 weeks of work. Burt Reynolds was so famous in 1981 that his mustache had its own fan club. He'd owned the 1970s with Smokey and the Bandit, Deliverance, and The Longest Yard. When director Hal Needham, his longtime stunt double-turn director, pitched him the Cannonball Run, Reynolds had exactly one question: how much and how long? Needham promised Reynolds wouldn't need to work more than 14 days, maybe 4 weeks maximum if weather slowed them down. Reynolds' fee was $5 million, making him the highest-paid actor in cinema history up to that point. For comparison, most A-list stars were begging for $2 million per picture in 1981. Reynolds was getting more than double for essentially showing up and smiling. Reynolds later admitted he did the movie for all the wrong reasons. He told interviewers, "I never liked it. I did it to help out a friend, and I also felt it was immoral to turn down that kind of money. I suppose I sold out." You can almost hear him shrugging while he said it. But here's what Reynolds didn't expect. His shameless money grab became one of his most beloved films. Audiences didn't care that he phoned it in. They didn't care that half his dialogue was improvised between takes. They loved watching Burt Reynolds get paid millions to drive fast and crack jokes with his buddies. The movie Reynolds made purely for cash became the movie fans' quote 4 decades later. Number 13. The ambulance was the actual vehicle from the real Cannonball Run. The Dodge ambulance that Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise drive isn't a movie prop some production designer sketched on a napkin. It's the real ambulance that director Hal Needham and screenwriter Brock Yates souped up and drove in the actual 1979 Cannonball run, with real cops chasing them across real highways. Needham and Yates had dumped serious money into that ambulance. A 440 cubic inch Landy-built wedge engine that screamed to 145 miles per hour. 4 gas filler holes were positioned so they could pump 90 gallons in under 5 minutes at truck stops. A fake patient gurney where Yates's wife Pamela laid perfectly still while Needham blew past speed traps at triple-digit speeds. They didn't win. 50 miles from the finish line in Palm Springs, the transmission exploded in a cloud of metal shavings and burnt fluid. The ambulance that was supposed to prove something about American freedom and automotive excellence limped onto a flatbed truck like a wounded animal.
JJ, there are 2 priests in that car over there.
Well,
They want us to pull over.
Needham kept it in his garage for years, probably looking at it every morning and thinking about those last 50 miles. When it came time to make the movie, Needham rolled that same beaten, scarred, legendary ambulance onto the set. Everything audiences see, from the medical equipment to the ridiculous disguise, came straight from Needham's real illegal cross-country run. And here's the beautiful redemption. The ambulance that failed to win the real race became iconic by starring in the movie about the race. After filming, Needham donated it to a church charity, which auctioned it off for enough money to fund youth programs. The vehicle that couldn't finish the Cannonball ended up saving souls. Number 12. A production safety incident changed Hollywood stunt work forever. On June 25, 1980, in the Nevada desert, the production was running behind schedule. They needed a stunt where an Aston Martin would weave through oncoming traffic while smoke poured from the engine bay. The car had problems, mechanical issues that the stunt driver had flagged, but the parts from Los Angeles hadn't arrived, and nobody wanted to wait another day. The stunt coordinator called in 24-year-old Heidi Von Beltz, a world-class skier who'd been dating him and training as a stuntwoman. He told her it was simple, easy, just operate the smoke machine from the passenger seat, while the driver handled the hard part. Von Beltz trusted him and climbed into the Aston Martin that had defective steering, bald tires, and no seat belts. Someone yelled, "Faster, faster," over the walkie-talkie. The Aston Martin hit the oncoming van head-on. Von Beltz went through the windshield, her neck crushed, her future erased in the seconds it took for metal to crumple and glass to shatter. She spent 6 months in the hospital and lived as a quadriplegic for 35 years until her passing in 2015. Von Beltz sued. A jury heard about the missing seatbelts, the ignored mechanical problems, the pressure to film despite safety concerns. They awarded her $7 million, later reduced to $3.2 million after appeals and legal fees. Here's what changed. Hollywood adopted mandatory seatbelt requirements for all stunt work. The Directors Guild prohibited directors from altering safety protocols on location. Stunt coordinators got more authority to shut down dangerous shots. Von Beltz later said she was proud those changes happened, even though the price was everything she'd planned for her life. Number 11. Roger Moore played James Bond as a joke and got banned from doing it again. Roger Moore shows up in the Cannonball run, driving an Aston Martin DB5 with the license plate from Goldfinger, surrounded by 5 beautiful women, introducing himself as Roger Moore, while the camera practically winks along with him. He's not playing a character, he's playing James Bond playing a character, and everyone watching knows exactly what's happening. The timing was perfect. For Your Eyes Only, Moore's actual James Bond film, premiered just 5 days after the Cannonball run on June 24, 1981. Audiences could watch Moore play Bond seriously on Friday and watch him mock Bond hilariously on Wednesday, and nobody seemed confused about which was which.
I realize the novelty of a major celebrity entering your little race, but kindly resist the temptation and keep the media coverage to a minimum. Thank you.
Eon Productions, the people who actually own James Bond, were very confused and very angry. After the Cannonball run hit theaters, their lawyers called Moore's lawyers. The message was clear: stop doing that. Moore was forced to sign an agreement preventing him from ever making Bond references in non-Bond films again. He could take other roles, but the winking self-parody was over. Here's what makes this absurd. Moore's Bond parody in the Cannonball run is funnier and more entertaining than half his actual Bond films. He's loose, playful, clearly having the time of his life in ways the rigid 007 formula never allowed. By mocking Bond, Moore accidentally showed audiences what he could do when the character wasn't trapped in tuxedos and martini orders. Number 10. Jackie Chan credits this movie for his blooper reel tradition. Jackie Chan appears in the Cannonball run as one of two guys driving a high-tech Subaru. His screen time is maybe 3 minutes. Most viewers blink and miss him completely. Chan had come to America hoping to break into Hollywood, and this was what he got: a forgettable cameo in a Burt Reynolds comedy where nobody even pronounces his name correctly. But Chan sat through the credits at the premiere and noticed something. Director Hal Needham had included blooper reels showing actors flubbing lines, missing their marks, Dom DeLuise breaking into uncontrollable laughter. All the mistakes that usually get deleted were right there on screen for everyone to see. Chan thought about this for weeks. In Hong Kong, film sets were serious, controlled environments where showing mistakes would embarrass everyone involved. But Needham's approach humanized the process, let audiences see that even Burt Reynolds screwed up takes and laughed at himself. Chan loved that transparency. When he returned to Hong Kong and started making his own films with real creative control, Chan adopted Needham's tradition. Every Jackie Chan movie from the mid-1980s onward features blooper reels during the credits, showing Chan falling, missing stunts, cracking up his co-stars. And here's the ironic legacy. Chan's blooper reels became more famous than the Cannonball runs. Millions of people have watched Chan's credit sequences, studied them, imitated them, without having any idea he stole the concept from a mostly forgotten Burt Reynolds car comedy. Number 9. Dom DeLuise couldn't stop laughing, and they left it in. Dom DeLuise was supposed to play Victor Prinzim, Burt Reynolds' straight-man mechanic who occasionally transformed into Captain Chaos. That was the character on paper. What DeLuise actually did was break character in nearly every scene, laugh through his own dialogue, and turn the entire production into his personal comedy workshop. Reynolds would deliver a line. DeLuise would start giggling. Reynolds would try to continue. DeLuise would collapse completely, wheezing with laughter, unable to speak. Director Hal Needham would look at the script supervisor, shrug, and just let the cameras keep rolling to see what happened.
We're very close.
Needham left most of it in the final cut. The scenes where DeLuise is supposed to be serious but can't stop grinning. Real. The moments where he's laughing so hard he can barely breathe, not acting. The times Reynolds stares at him with a mix of affection and disbelief. That's Reynolds genuinely wondering if his co-star has lost his mind. DeLuise's inability to stay professional became the emotional heart of the movie. His genuine joy, his complete lack of